please. In the back comment for me. Not the comments. Where's the private chat? Studio chat. It was hot. Can you hear my fan?
Oh.
Hey, we are live. No intro. Okay. Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. Today, we're talking about the rise in women choosing career over family. Recent projections from Morgan Stanley highlight that by 2030, nearly 45% of women between 25 and 44 years old in the United States will be single and childless. They might as well have just said barren, god dang, prioritizing their career over starting families. In this episode, we'll explore the driving factors behind this shift, the cultural changes supporting women's financial independence, and the potential impact this trend will have on society, the economy, and future generations. We'll also examine how these shifts are reshaping relationships, family dynamics, and gender roles. But here's the question: how will this shift affect the future of relationships, family dynamics, and gender roles? Specifically, we're going to break it down for Black people, specifically in the Black community. What does this mean and what does this look like? Today, I am joined by some dope queens. I have Shalay here with me today, CEO of Vital Source Realty. Throwing all my words together. We have Dr. Sabrina Edmond Williams, educator, author, investor. And we have Aisha, you can put your stuff in there. Aisha Verzi, financial expert, financial services expert, just got back from a retreat. Okay. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here and joining us on today. We're going to start out with our first video so we can get into this conversation really well. Actually, before we get to the first video, let's just talk about the numbers. Let's just talk about that first. When you hear by 2030, nearly 45% of women between 25 and 45 years old in the U.S. will be single and childless, what do you think of that, Shalay? Like when you first hear it, what's your first thought?
My first thought is, where are they getting these numbers and who are they surveying? I always a little funny about some stats sometimes and where it's coming from. So 45%, half of all women, but okay.
I know, yeah, because as a researcher, I recognize stats are very skewed. It just always depends on who are you talking to and who are you asking, right?
Yeah.
Dr. Sabrina, what about you? When you heard these stats, what were your first thoughts?
Wow. And I'm not sure that I find that hard to believe. I know you have to look at the source for the stats, but when I look around and I see what's going on right here in my community, I'm in Jackson, Mississippi, and I pick up my phone every day and I see there's been another shooting, another drive-by, something else has happened that has taken some of our Black males, away from us, then I can't really say I'm surprised in our community. So are those statistics just for us or are they in general?
Well, and they're regarding prioritizing their careers over starting families, because when you throw those elements in it, that's a whole nother can of worms. We start talking about the availability of men. Aisha, what are your thoughts when you hear these stats? 25 to 44 will be single, prioritizing their career over family.
Yeah, I felt the same. I said, wow, that's a large number, but I wasn't surprised. Morgan Stanley has put out this report many years back. Actually, they started putting out because they always start preparing for all the statistics already, because they're projecting years and years ahead, so they can know how to start shifting investment strategies. So something that I've learned a long time ago already. And even around me, like Dr. Sabrina was saying, most of the women I see are prioritizing their career, going to school, and delaying getting married later and later. And so it's really around us. Even in my family, I can see that. So I won't be surprised, because just around me, just seeing what I'm seeing, it will make sense. But is that accurate? Is 45 or 35 or 30? That's a big question.
I mean, I kind of noticed it. Me and my cousins were having a conversation the other day. I have my only kid at 23. My cousin, I think she started having kids at like 20. And my son is 25. He doesn't have kids. Her kids are 26 and 27. They don't have kids. So I don't necessarily know if they ain't necessarily prioritizing their career. They just looked at us and was like, we don't want to have kids that young. So I don't know if it's careers, but let's get to our first video. In the chat, let me know your thoughts about these stats and let us know what you think. And we're going to go to this first video.
This is actually insane. According to a recent stat, by the year 2030, 45 or upwards to 45% of women between the ages of 25 and 44 will be single and childless. 45%. A room with 100 women, 45 of them will have no children and have no husband. Probably not even a boyfriend unless you consider AI as a reasonable alternative. Folks, this is the long-term effects of modern feminism. Say what you will, and some may even say that feminism won, right? This is what they wanted. They wanted the girl bosses. They wanted women to be more occupied with spreadsheets than bed sheets, right? The home became an insult to a woman's ego. And instead, it was for you to go out there and to not just be like a man, but to be better than the man at being the man. And now this is where we are. I don't think anybody wins in this. And I don't have a horse in this race necessarily. I have wifey, and I stand on what I stand on. And, you know, I'm always going to be old school. But for those of y'all out there who think this is sweet, that is just going to appear one day, I will just go ahead and kick the can all the way down the road. You will be 43 and wonder what the hell is going on with you and me.
Everybody shouldn't have a microphone. Feminism. Okay, so let's talk about this. Why do you think, or what do you think is the biggest driver behind women prioritizing their careers over family? Chile, is it feminism or is it something else?
Oh God. Okay. There are a lot of variables, right? And human beings are not a monolith, and everybody has their own interests and things that they're going to do. But I do not believe that it is feminism that is driving this. I'm just going to tell y'all, and I'm like, damn, is this going to be a short show for me? I'm going to just tell y'all what I believe. And this is partly from part of my experience, my mom's experience, women that I've seen in my community, in my family, my friend group experience. The level of partnership that a lot of men are bringing, people are deciding, no, I don't want to be a single mom. I don't want to struggle alone. Okay, so I need to really build myself up financially. And yes, that may be causing things to be prolonged. But women, I really want men to hear this. Women want men who want to be partners. And women are making different decisions than previous generations because we have the option to. Now, we can talk about what that does to the Black family and all of these kind of things, but let's boil it down to what the real issue is. Because if women were falling in love and had good men and had really good relationships, when you're in that situation, most women want to procreate with you. That's just what it is. And that is my perspective. I don't even know what else I have to say about it, but you know, I ramble, I talk. But that, for real, like, I think that, yeah, could there be some feminism for some women? Yeah, maybe. But I think that it's the partnership thing and women not wanting to do it on their own and having a fear of that and wanting to set themselves up and then running into there aren't enough good men who they actually like and who like them back around to do this with.
So there's more than one reason is what it sounds like you're saying then,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Dr. Sabrina, do you think women are delaying family life out of necessity or desire? Like, are we in a place now where we have to make a decision? It's us or you.
Mhm.
Is it that I have my own, I don't want to lead you. I have my own idea. What do you think?
I think it may be both, and it depends on the woman, actually, you know, how she views the workforce, how she views herself in it, what she's trying to do. I have to agree with Shalay in that there have not always been the option for women, especially Black women, to make their mark in the workplace. And so now that we find we have that option, we can go in there and get on a career trajectory and find ourselves, in places that we never saw ourselves before. And I think that just having an opportunity to do that for a lot of us is just something that, many people don't want to pass up because that option has not been there. But in other instances, it really just kind of depends on the person. Some people are more focused, and it may have everything in the world to do with their life experiences, their reality. Regardless of what anybody else says or think, we all are individual. So I think it just, kind of depends.
Okay. Excuse me. Aisha, how much of this shift do you think is women wanting to be financially secure before starting a family, which is it's an interesting dynamic, because usually it's the man that's supposed to be financially secure. So he's waiting to start a family, or he'll start a family because the wife is going to be at home in the kitchen. Let me not say that. The wife might be at home. Let me not be out here stereotyping. She might be at home, but they're building together. Let's say it that way. Now women are like, well, I got to be financially secure too. I got to be able to take care of myself as well. Why is that? And or do you think it's financially driven so that they can also feel secure, or as an equal partner? What do you think?
Yeah, I think, again, it's based on what all of you have said. There's a lot of truth in everything that everybody has just said so far. But I also believe that, honestly, it's also cultural in a sense, because for my culture where I'm from, no matter how educated you are, you know that you're going to be a mother, period. And you might just study just to be educated, but you're going to be a housewife, and then maybe do whatever else that your husband think it's okay for you to continue to do. Honestly, that is exactly how I was raised. Even when I came to America and I studied and I went to school, I knew that a time is going to come where my career is not going to matter. It's just the way I was raised. And I knew that, and it didn't bother me that someday I have to depend on my husband. It doesn't mean that I don't have my knowledge and I don't know anything. It's just that he will be the head and I will be there with him to raise a family. I just knew that. But I also believe that what is happening in our culture here in America is that the media and whatever it is you want to say, the magazines tell women that they have to be a certain way to be acceptable. They have to make money. They have to have their own. They have to be equal to the men. So what's happening now is the unintended consequences. So people are delaying because they think, oh, I don't have that yet, so I'm not going to get married. Or this man is not equal to my standards, so I'm not going to get married. So a lot of things start coming to play that shouldn't have been. It's okay to be knowledgeable and to have your degree, but to what extent? What is more important, is your family or what you're building for yourself? Right. So there's a lot of things that come to play with that, and just watching what is happening around them. But for me, no matter what, I knew it that one day I'm going to be a housewife. That is, whatever I studied didn't matter. I was going to be a wife, and then whatever I did fell next to that. So it's just, it's tough to watch and hear all these things, but it's just what is happening, unfortunately.
I'm talking and my microphone is off. So first of all, I think that I want to know where these stats came from. Like, that's the first thing. Where did these stats come from? Are we talking about all women? Are we talking about white women? Are we talking about Black women? That's the first thing. That's A. B, I would want to know, based on that, historically, white women have been taught or reared to go to college and find a husband. A lot of times they're going to school to be educated, yes, but to Aisha's point, they're going to find a husband. They're going to network. They're going to solidify their future, right? Black women, when we're going to school, or when we're being reared to don't depend on a man for nothing, right? Go to school, get an education, get a job, make sure you have your own money, right? So you have these two women on two different paths in life. Now, are we rearing our daughters to be married? I hope so. I think I would like to believe that, but we're also implanting this be independent thing that makes it really difficult when it comes to a relationship and partnering, around money and finances, right? So you have Black women we're the most educated, we have the most degrees, we're getting jobs, but we're not talking about teaching and emphasizing and taking time to talk about, yeah, but you need relationship too. Yeah, but you should have a family too. And what does that look like, right? I think we're teaching people about balance, and there's no such thing as balance. We got to really talk about harmony. Should you wait until you get out of college? Yes, right? I think that this new age, they're not doing the 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old pregnancies like a lot of us did in our younger years. They're doing more 25, 26. I think that that's good. I think kids anywhere between like 27 and 33 is a good age. You're a little bit more mature. You can take care of yourself. You know what kind of parent you want to be. It's the reason why our first kids be messed up and our last kids be together, because we start young. So I don't think these stats are bad. For like 25 to 33, I think when you start getting to that 35 to 44 is probably where it gets a little bit skewed. But then I think it goes back to kind of what Shalay was saying. Now dating looks differently. What you want looks differently. The partners that are available to you looks different. So there's a lot to unpack here. And we're going to keep going into. We're going to take a commercial and then we'll be right back. Let us know in the chat.
It's a good show right here. But I'm biased. If you are just tuning in, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. My name is Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and I'm the proud producer of this show because it is lit. If you want to receive notifications for when we go live Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All you have to do is text the word Queens to 87948. That's Queens to 87948. That's QUEENS to 87948. Also, if you want to grow your money and not blow your money, all you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. There's all kinds of resources, there's courses, there's free giveaways. There's just no reason to be broke in 2025. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. Obviously, you don't want to be entertained here. You want to know enough to grow. Wait, I need to put that on a shirt. You got to know to grow. Got to know to grow. So know and grow with flynubianmoney.com.
So know and grow with flynubianmoney.com. Thank you so much for being here on today. We are talking about the stats of 45% of women will be childless by 2030. The stats say that women between the ages of 25 and 44 years old in the U.S. will be single and childless, prioritizing their careers over starting families. We are diving into it to see what we think. How does this affect Black families, gender roles in families? We're going to go to our second video, and then we're going to come back and keep this conversation going.
Morgan Stanley predicted that 45% of women between the ages of 25 and 44 will be single and childless by 2030. One of the reasons is because the number of prime working age women in the US has been increasing steadily, and most of these women are single and completely focused on their career. That single childless women very generally tend to be much more unhappy, much unhealthier, especially mentally, much lonelier and much less fulfilled than women who have a husband and children. This is just statistically true. This has been proven through many different types of studies and research. But this is bigger than a woman's happiness. This is about the bedrock of any healthy society. What is the bedrock of any healthy society? It's not money. It's not buying things. It's not consumerism. It's the family. It's the family unit. It's always been that way.
Again, I gotta know where they're getting these stats from, because the second time that I heard that, now my antennas went up, right? We know that the pale people will be the majority minority by 2030, 2050. So now I'm curious, like, wait a minute, whose women ain't having kids? Because I know that they are worried that they're not having as many babies anymore. That's why, in my opinion, they took away women's rights, because they like, we need to have more white babies around here because we're losing our status as the majority. We're going to become the majority minority. So now I'm listening to it with a different set of ears, like, well, hold on a second. Again, whose women? What women? Shalay, how do you think family dynamics are going to change as more women choose career over family?
I believe the family dynamics have already changed. And I just want to say to the stat that she said that women who are childless and single had higher incidence of like mental health and depression. I've actually heard many, many times the opposite. So again, where are they getting the stats? And I think you can get a stat to support any argument. But I think that it has already changed. And again, I wanted to go to something that you said, Dr. Lene. You said Black women are reared to be independent, right? And of course, we're not talking about all Black women, but we are talking about a group of Black women who are reared to be independent. Why? Why? And again, from my experience, from what I've seen, from my family and everything, because there was not a stable male presence to depend on. So you got to have yourself. You have to do it. That's just one perspective, but that is a perspective. And that is influencing these numbers of women who are very independent and like, I've got to have my own. It's really survival that you have to do that. So I think that it's already changing. And I think that we need to get to a place where we're having conversations about, okay, first of all, women, we're not just our uteruses. And we shouldn't just be like used to be bred like horses. Okay. So women also have autonomy to say, hey, I want to be a mom and I want to have children and I want to be in that relationship, or I don't, and it's okay if she doesn't. But for the women who do, how do we have the conversation around, I want to be in a relationship, I want to have children. I also know that I need to be dependent to some extent. And if not, then where are those partners who can come in and fill that gap? Aisha, you said something that was super important about your culture. And I love that you said you always knew you were going to be a wife and a mother. You always knew that. And I have a question about that. How did you, I know culturally you had the mindset, first of all, that you know. And when you have the mindset, you manifest that. It's just automatic, right? But in your culture, is it that, okay, I know that I'm going to be a wife and a mother, and I'm going, whatever husband I get, I settle with that person and I stay and we work through anything? Or is it more in the culture like, okay, if things aren't working out, I have the right and the option to leave and that's okay? Because I think that that's part of it too. When you have a cultural thing of, I know I'm going to be a mother and a wife, it's because it's expected and everything. And it's a good thing. But also, does it, are the women in general, again, not a monolith, but in general, staying or getting into those situations where they're not actually fulfilled?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, that's a great question. And thank you for asking that question. And I understand that. I think from somebody outside looking in, it's hard to wrap their mind around the fact that, well, if that's the case, does that mean that if you have a relationship, no matter what it is, you stay? But that's also not true, because in culturally, we knew that we're going to get married. So when you're a young woman in the family, your parents are raising you definitely to be married to someone one day, because that's also part of legacy building. It's just part of legacy building. So families communicate with each other. It seems like it's an arranged marriage, but it's not, because you go to school, you see people that you like, and then the families come together and then they talk about getting married. Does that mean that when you marry this person, things are going to be perfect? No, but you have that village around you constantly course correcting, helping you, guiding you through life, because we all also understand that things are not going to be perfect, right? It's not going to be perfect. You're going to have the ups and downs. You're going to fall in love one time, fall out of love one time. Sometimes it'll be you and your only focus on your kids while the husband focuses on providing for the family. You're going to have all those nuances that comes to play. But what happens in our culture here is there's this lie that you're supposed to have this perfect life, vacation and everything. So then it skews what you want. So then you think, oh, I need more. I have to be independent. I have to have my own, because you're so scared that they're showing you that it has to be perfect all the time. We know that's not true. That's not real. So that's a struggle we have to fight against, I feel, because culturally, the village is needed to have that stability and that continuity and that also contentment, where I don't feel like I'm lacking something or I need something, because I know the village is going to support me when the time comes, and I don't have to be by myself. I have to be independent.
Yes. Now, did you know that there was going to be a man for you?
Yes, I knew.
Because in the culture, it seems like you're geared for marriage, and they are too.
Absolutely. But the times may be different. Maybe maybe mine is going to be when I'm 23. Maybe yours is 27. It might be at a different time. But I knew that that's something that has to happen, for me. And I desired that, because that's how I was raised to think. And also I wanted that because of continuity and legacy building. You need that, right? So Yes, it's. I know sometimes I think about it. I feel torn as well because I see women that are independent, like you say, they have education and they're doing what they want. It seems like they're happy, but I also know that it's not possible that you're by yourself and you think you're happy all the time. It's not possible. You lack. There's no relationship. There's no companionship. You miss that as well.
So culturally, as a community, as a B1 family, Black people, I call it the Hotep community, but whatever. Us is right. We need to prioritize family. We need to shift how we've been taught. We need to understand why we were taught those things. Dr. Sabrina, I want to say times are different. Like we don't have to tell our daughters to be independent, but they're not necessarily different. So how can we shift this? What do we do to say Black men, you need Black women, you need Black men? What do we do to talk to how do we talk to our sons and be like, hey, it's important that you grow up and that you find a wife and that you build as a two-person and as a two-person household, because that's a team and there's more wealth in that. How do we rear our daughters to say, hey, it is important that you have, a good mind, that you have a good character about yourself, but that you make room so that you can have a husband so that you guys can come together. What does that look like? Is that something that we can do?
Absolutely. I think it's something to do. And it starts with conversations like the ones that we're having right now. It begins with a conversation. Now, what I heard Aisha say, I don't know about everybody else, is in her culture, certain things are taught. And I think right now the conversation, to Shala's point, is a lot of times, what are we teaching our young girls? We're teaching them to be independent. Are we teaching them to be wives? You have to be taught how to be a wife. I've been married 30 years and I'll go around with anybody on this thing or this topic of marriage. That's not something that just because you stand up at the altar and say, I do, because you felt all warm and fuzzy about this guy, hey, you're going to be a wife. No, that's not how that works. You have to learn. You have to become. And those are conversations. And quite honestly, even though I was reared around people who were married, I had examples, I saw those things. It was totally different when I became a wife. That's something I had to grow into, and I'm still becoming, because there are some days, I tell you, there are some days when I'm wondering if I can need to go back and read the fine print on that contract. But I'm just saying,
Tell the truth and shame the devil. True.
Yeah, that's my truth. That's my truth. Hopefully my husband will never see this video. But anyway, but again, in all seriousness, that conversation. Now, I heard you say, Dr. Lene, that in the pale culture, young ladies are taught, you go to college, and if you get the degree, it's okay. But what you must get is the mate. That's the mission, the mate. We don't have that conversation. So, I think all of this starts with a conversation around what is it that we're trying to do. If nobody knows what the goal is, to have a family, to sustain the race, legacy, all of these things that we're talking about, if nobody knows that that's the goal, then how do we ever get there?
Listen, I was watching a video last night of Trina in SeaWorld, and they was taking people out, but I was just looking at the people in the crowd and how they was being and acted and just looking at things. I was like, man, we need some serious conversations with ourselves. Let's go to some stats real quick on that video before we go to commercial. Morgan Stanley projects by 2030, nearly 45% of women aged 25 to 44 in the U.S. will be single and childless, prioritizing their careers over starting families. This is a significant increase from 41% in 2018. According to a 2019 report by the National Women's Law Center, women make 82 cents for every dollar earned by men, which has led to increasing pressure for women to focus on career stability before having children. That's a weird one. We shouldn't make the same amount of money, but that's another conversation for another day. Education and workforce participation. According to the United States Bureau of Labor Statistics, women aged 25 to 54 made up 47% of the workforce in 2020, Dang. A significant increase from previous decades. Higher levels of education among women are a contributing factor to this shift. Ooh, when we come back, I want to talk about, should women make the same amount of money as men? But we're going to go to commercial. We'll come back and we'll talk about that. And then in the chat, y'all can start answering that question. Should women and men make the same amount of money? Let's go to the commercial.
I know you're busy, you got things to do, and you can't take us on the go with you every single day. Good news for you. We are now on Spotify. So if you can't watch us, now you can listen to us on Spotify. Search Fly Nubian Money and all the episodes shall appear. All you have to do is like, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, leave some comments, tell people how you love us so that when other people come along and are looking for a great show to watch, they can find Fly Nubian Money too. One last thing, and just in case you've been sitting under a rock, Fly Nubian Money now has an investment club. We are the Fly Nubian Money Club. It's easy. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com, and I am committed to bringing in top experts from all industries to help you level up. They're teaching us the skills that we need to compete in this market. We often say that nobody is coming to save us, not the government, but guess what? We're coming to save us. I'm coming to save you with the Fly Nubian Money Club. So listen, all you have to do again is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com. We have a 30-day free trial set up just for you, just for those people that are struggling. Even if you ain't struggling, you ain't got to struggle. I'm coming. Okay, let me stop playing. I'll see you soon.
We not only coming, we here. Make sure you follow along. Make sure you join flynubianmoneyclub.com. Make sure you like and subscribe to the podcast. Make sure you tune in every day at 1:00 on the YouTube channel. Text the word Queens, QUEE and S to 87948 so you can stay up to date on what's happening. Like, stay connected. We come in, but we're also here right now, and we're having a dope conversation today. I have been having this debate over, I don't know, maybe like 6 months with a friend of mine, and we have been talking about gender roles, right? And we're talking about all the women that are in the workforce and feminism, and women being in the job saying, I should make as much money as he makes, right? We just saw that stat that said a woman makes 82 cents on the dollar that a man does. And when we start talking about women pursuing their careers, are we, or women in general, pursuing careers because I don't only want to make 82 cents for every dollar he make, I want to make the same dollar he make. Whew. How does this impact gender roles in our homes, in our family? So I got this. You can answer this a couple of ways. So I want to hit that piece, but then also, do you think women should make the same amount of money as a man? Should a woman be equal to a man? I'm gonna start with Aisha, but we got to keep our answers like 45 to 60 seconds. I'm gonna get everybody on this one, so we got to be concise.
I don't think so, because the reason, because women are different from men. And sometimes we will be out of work and men will be working still. So men should definitely earn more than women. And then they're providers too. They're supposed to be. That's not what we want them to be, providers. So if we're equal to them, then it makes it harder for them to do their work. That's how I feel. I think we're all different. But when it comes down to it, I think the men, we shouldn't equal ourselves with pay. I don't think it's necessary.
All right, Dr. Sabrina, what are your thoughts on that question?
Well, honestly, I think when you go into the workforce, there is a job description and you're paid for the work that you do based on the job description. The job description doesn't say if you are one gender, you make this amount. If you're another gender, you make that amount. So if there's not that type of delineation and there is no agreement that I'm willing to work for less and we're doing the same role, then I question why there should be less pay. That's my opinion.
Okay, Shalay.
I agree. I believe that you have a job, and if you're doing the job and a man is doing the job, it doesn't matter what's between our legs. We should both get paid the same amount of money to do that job. And not to mention that women usually do more.
Okay, so then we start talking about doing the same job, right? So now to bring that back to our conversation, men are usually have higher positions. in the workplace, which is why they make more money. So when we bring it back to this conversation, women are in pursuit of career to make more money, to increase in their career, to be equal to a man, to make the same amount of money as him. If we know that the man is the provider, which means he has to work harder, he's probably going to be out there longer doing the things. Now, as a woman, to be equal to him, that's what we have to do, right? So now we have to work twice as hard, which means we have to put our family to the side, or we can't have a family because we have to be able to keep up to the pace of a man. How then do you think that this shift will impact gender roles in relationships? And or do you think a man's role in the family dynamic will shift as more women choose careers over family? I'll start with you, Shalay, and I'll come back around.
I'm a little confused on that. This is where partnership comes in. As far as who should make more per hour, like when it boils down to the dollar, I don't think that there should be any difference.
No, not so much how much should they make. So if we go to traditional norms, man goes out to work, travels, late hours, out of the house a lot. Woman home or works, but comes home, cooks dinner, etc. Right? If a woman has to, in order for a woman to make the same amount of money as a man, or if a woman is putting her career first, now she has to keep up with that same pace. So now she's working the late hours. She's not coming home to cook dinner. So that's what I'm asking. How do these gender roles now change if we're both keeping up the same pace?
I think this is really simple, and we kind of get into the weeds a lot of times with these conversations. It depends on your position, your job. I mean, as a husband, you may have a position that you work less hours than your wife, or you work virtual and she has to travel for work. Like, I just think, again, this is where it comes down to the partnership of those two people, and knowing that, okay, if we're in partnership, we've got each other's backs no matter what. And when it's my time as a woman to have a baby and be pregnant and be on maternity leave and things like that, I can do that because you got my back. And then when it's your time, and what if you want to change careers as my husband, and I'm in support of that, now it's my time to like step it up, and as long as we have the kids handled and everything like that. So I believe that it should just be an all-encompassing partnership on every level. I think that we put too much into gender roles. We're both human beings. If you have children and your parents, then one person picks up where the other one has left off. That's how it was with me. Like, I'm grateful for the relationship that me and my child's father has and had, because I was able to do all of those things. And it was a true partnership when it came to parenting.
Okay. So what is CY says it sounds like competition. It kind of does. It does. If you have to put your career, I don't know. Dr. Sabrina, do you think that the man's role in the family dynamic will shift as more women choose career over family life?
The man's role in the family dynamic will shift as more women choose. Well, if I understand the conversation, we're saying that the man is not there anyway because the woman is single and doesn't have any kids, right?
In theory, well, she's single and has no kids. So right. She's prioritizing her career over relationship, over marriage, over kids, over family. So for those that do marry, right, is that going to change the kind of what Tishlay was saying? We are married, so I do decide to marry, get a husband, but my career is taking priority. So I may not have any kids because I got to have this career. But then does the and or I'm not married. I'm childless. I work hard to become this CFO doing $300,000 a year. Now I'm ready to get married. Does that change the dynamics in my household with my husband, who maybe is not earning $300,000 a year? Maybe he earns $150,000.
I think it depends on the couple. I'm with Shalay on that. And I've spoken to this before on this show. We've had seasons throughout our 30 years where my husband has earned more money. We've had seasons where I've earned more money. But we decided a long time ago that would never be an issue for us, because at the end of the day, we understood that it all came to the same pot. So there was not, somebody made a comment a few minutes ago about competition. We never viewed it as competition. When we said I do, we didn't say I do. I'm doing so to become your competitor. We said we were in this thing together. And so I think it really is about the two individuals, the mindset of the individuals, because it can be competitive if you have two competitive individuals. But if you have people that are committed to working together and being in partnership, then it won't really be an issue.
Aisha, quick question for you. I gotta find it. Hold on a second. I already highlighted it. I wanted to ask you this. How do you feel from a cultural perspective that this trend will affect the traditional nuclear family model going forward?
Yeah, I think we should be very careful. I feel that personally that as a community, we should try to find a way to make that not to be a reality, even though it's trending right now. But the goal is to say, well, no, well, hold up, something is not working. Let's see how we can regroup again as a community and start promoting family values and togetherness and relationship with family, really in the context of a family, father, mother, children, aunties, uncles, cousins, nieces. We should try to make that a priority, because at the end of the day, honestly, those things matter. That is how a country is built, is through family, husband, wife, children together. Yes, would there be exception? Of course, always. Even in my culture, there is exception. But the goal, as for everybody, is that we want to have families, father, mother. It doesn't matter whether you are highly educated or you're not. It doesn't matter. It's that as a community, we know that we want to keep growing and we want to have the family structure where there's a dad and a mom and their children, if God gives them children, and with everybody else, because you have that around you to protect you. So we should really, really do our best to push for that, rather than saying I'm independent, I can do what I want, because there's a limit to that. And I believe that it will only just destroy us more further if we don't say, no, we need to bring each other together and make it work.
So we're seeing the stat, but there's things that we can do to help it. There's things that we can do to change it. There's education, there's nurturing. I always say, when you see the writing on the wall, when you see it, then you can start working to erase it. It's when we don't see it that it's like, oh my God, where'd that writing come from? But when you see it, like, okay, we can see that this is happening. Let's start adjusting. Let's start talking to our sons. Like, hey, so when are you going to get married? Hey, have you found a nice girl? Start talking to our daughters. Like, hey, you're making all this money, but make time. I'm 48. I'll be 49 next month. And I'm dating somebody right now, but one of the things I talk to young girls about right now is, if you find a mate, try to make it work. Don't pursue. Yeah, I got the bachelor's degree, the MBA, the PhD. I have an older son, but I do wish that I would have made more time for relationship. I wish that would have been a priority. Now, the way that my makeup works, I didn't think I was going to be a good mom, and I didn't think I was going to have kids, and I didn't want to get married until it was later in life. But I wish I had somebody talking to me about, you're going to wish you had made a different decision. And now I'm old enough to be like, damn, I wish I would have made a different decision. So when I see these young girls forward driven on education and career, I'm like, yo, when's the last time you was on a date? When's the last time you did this? Because you can not that you can have it all, but you can make time for the things that are important to you. So let's take a commercial. We're going to come back. We're going to keep having this conversation.
Are you a Black business owner looking to expand your reach? Well, has Fly Nubian Money got good news for you? We are building a Black business directory to connect you with customers who need your services. And here is the best part. It is absolutely free. Email us at info@realvirtual.net. Send us your business name. Tell us a little bit about what you do, what services you offer, your website address, and your contact information. That's it. Together, we are going to build and circulate the Black dollar. Get listed today and start connecting with people who are probably already looking for you.
Don't you find it funny that more women now, like the rise of depression in women is going up, but this is the so-called most independent they've ever been?
I've always said, like, the Western world are marching into their own death.
Yeah.
That's what I personally believe. Like, they say that we're the most technologically advanced civilization, right? Which may be technologically, but socially, we're the most depressed, we're the most anxious, we're the most socially awkward. Right? Both the men and the women. The men, I've stated this on so many occasions, men between the ages of 18 and 30 most men have 1 in 3 men have not had sex in the last year and or are virgins, which means that the men are not finding women to create families with. And then the women, like they said, by 2030, 45% of women in the West are going to be single and childless. So there's a disconnect between men and women in this current society.
What do you think's fueling that?
Feminism.
Feminism alone?
Feminism is fueling, when I say feminism, I mean this. Women for the past 4 or 5 decades have been told that they don't need a man.
By who?
By the society.
And who's that?
The media.
Marketing.
Who runs the media?
Men do.
Oh.
Right. No, they do.
No, I'm agreeing with you.
No, I agree. Men do.
Yeah.
But what it is that men started listening to women, right? With, oh, we want this, we want this, we want this, listen to us, listen to us, listen to us.
Yeah.
And as controversial as it may sound, I've always said, don't listen to women that much. Listen to it.
There's so much to unpack in that video. Okay, let's start with depression. Well, actually, I won't even lead you. What were your thoughts when you watched the video, Shalay? So you guys in the front can't see, but I can see the Queen's face in the background. So I'm watching their expressions as the videos is happening. And so Shalay, what were you thinking as we watched that video?
I just wanted to go to the next video. I think this is a lot simpler than we're making it. And simple doesn't always mean that it's easy. It really is going to take both sides listening to each other and taking down the wall of blame. And I'm saying this because there's blame to go around, right? But taking down the wall and really having a conversation, but also only going to that conversation if you want to be in it. Like, there is a gentleman that's always in our comments. I don't know his name, but he talks a lot about, well, Black men aren't dealing with Black women. We want other women. Why are you here? Why are you in this conversation? Invite some other Black men to this conversation, to have this conversation with us, that actually want to have this conversation with us. I just think that with social media and all the videos and everything, it's tiring and it's a lot simpler than we're making it. It starts from home, and it starts from, like, women, girls are built for connection. Humans are built for connection, but especially girls are built for connection and nurturing and things like that. I have girlfriends right now in their 40s, very successful, but really want to be in a relationship. And they've always been like that and have not been able to find the right partner. And when I say the right partner, I'm not talking about a perfect man. I'm talking about a man who shows up emotionally, wants to be a partner financially, wants to be supportive. They're having a hard time. I have one friend right now. She really wants to have a baby, and she thought she'd have a baby 7 years ago. But she's like, I'm not settling. I did not come this far and do this much for me to just settle for a guy to have a baby with. And I can't argue with her. So I think that it's just really a lot simpler, but it's just not easy because maybe we're not having the conversation with the right people who actually want to have the conversation.
God, there was a lot to unpack in that assessment, but I digress. Aisha, what are your thoughts when you heard the video, when you listened to that podcast episode?
I thought it was funny the way he was talking about it, but it's sad, but it's true. What he's saying is true, and we just have to step back and ask ourselves, well, how can we move forward from here? Because when Morgan Stanley did all this, they paid money to get all this information. They did, because they're preparing. Like I said, when in any industry, they're looking ahead to prepare. What are going to be the things that they need in the society? What would they be needing? maybe homes for assisted living homes, for people that don't have any family members, and nursing places to put the people that don't have any family members. So they're thinking ahead monetarily. How are we going to take care of this? So we have to now say, wow, this is happening in this society. How can we, knowing that it's not going to help us, it's not good for us, how can we move from there? Because I think what he's saying, though it may be harsh, but there's truth to it. And we see it. And like they just said, she has friends that are looking for good men, but then she said that there's no good men. Well, then now they'll end up being single, back again into that pile and be childless. Because when you get a certain age, from 30 and onward, your chance of having a child diminishes dramatically. Nobody tells you that, right? So we should have the conversation with our young women now and our young boys, train them. We have to go back and do the hard work so that these things that they're saying that's happening now can be reversed. Because as human beings, we can do that. We can say, okay, look, we're going the wrong way. Let's course correct.
Okay, Dr. Sabrina, what are your thoughts? Then I have a question for all of us.
Okay, so I want to bring another perspective to this conversation. So we're talking about these women that are intentionally delaying marriage and having children to focus on their career. So what if these women took a totally different approach and said, okay, well, I'm going to delay my career and focus on marriage? Now, again, when we look at where we are as a community, I'm not even going outside of our community. You think about those women and the pool that they have to choose from, okay? Those same women that are saying, I'm going to delay my career for marriage and children. Okay, look at the pool. What's there? Who's there? We have a homicide rate that is crazy between the ages of 16 and 24. Okay. Then when you take those people out of the equation, you also have to think about other things that women are competing with. No shade here against anybody's community, but you also have to take out of that equation the number of men that have decided that they want other men as opposed to women. So you remove those from the equation. Then you take from the equation those Black men that have decided that they don't want Black women. Okay, what's left? I'm just saying, I'm just asking. So the person is supposed to delay the career for marriage, for children, but what do you have to select from? And then when you make a decision to delay marriage and children for your career, what do you have to select from?
So Shalay had mentioned the no good, low down, unbrotherly brother that be talking his shit, and he just so happened to pop into the chat today. He said, I am Anthony David. I am enjoying watching 75% of Black women go unmarried, the least married demographic African American, most divorced, white, no man. First of all, your stats are wrong because more Black men marry Black women than they marry whatever you're married to. Second, and I'm only speaking to Black men like you, if you call yourself a Black man who say things like that, you are so hateful of yourself. How you look in the mirror and look at yourself every day, I have no idea. But I hope that pale face that you kiss every day, I hope that works for you, because you make it difficult for other people who have relationships with people that don't look like them. You make it difficult for those types of relationships, because your stance makes our community look at other people who have interracial relationships side eye because of those types of comments. Other people go into these relationships lovingly, and they still stand up for their community, and they still stand up for their race, and they still stand up for Black love, and just say, I choose to love something different. It doesn't mean I hate my community. It doesn't mean I hate the Black man or I hate the Black woman. It just means that this is where I found love. But when you come in here and spew hate and you disgrace yourself, your family, your mother, and our whole community, you make everybody look bad. So if you don't have good vibes or good conversation to add to this conversation, maybe you shouldn't just show up. This feels like this is not the place for you, because in this space we are B1, which means we are Black first, Black man, Black woman. So if a Black man has a white girl and that's his choice, I love the Black man, I'm gonna support him. If a Black woman has a white man, I love the Black woman and I'm gonna support her. If you don't support that and that's not what you want, this is not the room for you. We have conversation, we're just communicating. But if you come in here and spew hate, then this is not the space for you. Okay. But
amen.
And your stats are wrong. So there's that too. Now, with that being said, let's go to the last video.
People are not taking 2030 seriously. By 2030, 45% of all women in America is supposed to be single and childless permanently. I don't think you're understanding. That's 6 years from now. That is a stat produced by Morgan Stanley. Let me show you how this works in economics and business for those of the small people who are not up on the corporate totem pole making these high-level decisions. When it comes to feminine care products, when it comes to marketing certain clothing or material, when you pull up the She Economy report online, you could Google this. You will see all the major hedge fund companies, all the major corporations, and where they're putting those billions and potentially future trillions worth of dollars and dividends paying in the next 20 to 35 years, betting that these women are going to be permanently childish and single. I don't think y'all realize what's about to happen. This is what y'all need to be talking about, the rise and fall of the modern woman.
Man, this conversation is bigger than gender roles, right? It's when you think about the political environment that we're in, and you're looking at how they're doing different things and the abortion and the da-da-da-da. When I tell you these people be playing the long game,
Yep.
I love reading these reports because they study us. They know where we're going to be before we even get there. We when I say we're playing checkers and they playing chess, I mean we are playing checkers. They know more about us than we know about ourselves financially, how we're going to have babies, what kind of jobs we're going to have. They just know. We have to know these same things. But the conversation that we're having right here, right now, is around women who will be childless by 2030. That is 4 years away, because we're basically done with 2025. We're basically 2026. So in just 4 years, they're saying that this is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is my final question for you guys. You can give your final thought as well as where people can find you. Shalay brought something up. But she was talking about her friend, and I'm sure we all have this girlfriend or friend who says, I want this life, I want this relationship, I've waited this long, I'm not going to settle. And I often wonder, what is settling, right? And it's different for everybody, so that's why I'm setting it up.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that, could it possibly be, and or what do you think that is happening with women between 25 and 44 that is causing this shift, right? We know some of it is dating. We know some of it is the dating pool. We know some of it is career. But is this shift a result of women trying to have it all? Or is it a response to external pressures in society, right? Because when we're looking at this, we have to ask ourselves, is this shift going to lead to an overall societal change in how we view marriage and family life? So are we basically saying it's okay for women not to marry, not to have kids, focus on your career, and then be single for the rest of your life? What are your thoughts? We'll start with you, Aisha, and then we'll come around. What do you think about this?
Yeah. When it comes to, something like this, where we're seeing now what is happening, and we know it's been happening a long time. It's just that now it's becoming really huge. And the banks and all those industries are going to capitalize on it, right? They will. As time goes on, they will. So now, what is it that we need to do when we hear our friends that say, okay, well, now I'm at this age, I'm not going to settle. And then you know that the pool that you're going to be selecting from is also lower. What are you going to do? So me personally, I am definitely raising my daughter to be a wife one day. That is how I'm raising my son and my daughter. Well, when that time comes, will they choose it the way I kind of set it up for them? I don't know. but the way I'm raising them, their mindset, and what I think will be best for them is that they're going to have their own family. Even as I say one day you're going to have your own children, you're going to take care of them. I'm already speaking that into them already, so that they don't have to now get to that stage where that happens to them. But if it ever happens to them, it's by choice. It's not because they focus so much on one aspect of their life and left the other part of their lives. That is how, to me, I'm viewing this, because whether we like it or not, this is happening. And the truth is, we need to really regroup as a community to start teaching the next generation that, no, we need to make sure that we do this as one. Honestly, I know somebody said village, we're in the cities. We are a village, whether you like it or not. Cities are alive, created to make you feel like you're better. Trust me, it takes a village to do anything great. That's what I believe.
All right, thank you so much for that. How can people find you?
Oh yes, you can find me at Business School as a coach there, and then also www.aishaverzi.com. If you need anything with your insurance or financial knowledge and growing in that space, reach out to me. I can help you set things up properly.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Shalay, we'll go to you. What are your thoughts around having it all versus societal changes in how we view marriage and family life?
Yeah. I believe that we can have it all. Maybe not all at once, but I think that we can have it all. And I believe that, this generation of women and men, while we're having these issues, it's kind of like a power struggle. And my hope is that we're going to come out of it. But this is like the murky water that you have to go through. I believe everything comes down to partnership in relationships, and that has everything to do with what those two people deem is necessary and right for their relationship. I don't believe that most women are out here just focused on their careers and not looking for relationship. That is not what I have seen. And I believe that women, yes, they want careers, and it's not just to make money. There's a level of fulfillment behind it because you're a human being and there's things and visions and dreams that you have that you want to fulfill. And I don't think that has anything to do with gender. I think that has to do with humanity. So I think that we're built for connection. We want marriage. Most of us want children. I think that, I believe that sometimes that doesn't align with the right person. And even if it doesn't align and you have children, and many of us have experienced this in our community and other communities, that wasn't the right person for you, but you did settle and you had children with that person. So there are so many variables here. I think the solution, or starting the solution to the issue of how are we going to turn all of this around, is like Aisha was saying, we start having these conversations with our children early. I'm not blaming men, okay? Let me say it again. I'm not blaming men. But I believe that if men were raised to be husbands, they would have no problem finding an amazing wife. I believe that. And there are way more women out here than there are men. So just numbers only, it's stacked in their favor. So we have to look at that and say, why isn't this happening? And let's look at that. So partnership, raising our children to be married, to be wives, to be husbands, and also making sure as a parent that your son or your daughter is part of that pool. That could be someone who someone else wants to choose. I am Shalay Camillo. I am CEO of Vital Source Realty. I can help you buy or sell real estate anywhere in the continental United States and Canada. Please reach out to me if you have any questions about buying real estate, investing in property. You can find me at vitalsourcerealty.com or on social media at Shalay Camillo.
Awesome. I was going to add a little bit to what Shalay said, and that is your sons and your daughters, because every woman is not ready to be a wife, whether she thinks she is or not. Just because you want to be a wife doesn't mean you are ready to be a wife. So we need to be putting that into both our sons and our daughters, because you have some men who are ready. I have some dope ass homeboys that have never been married. And I'm like, yo, why don't you get married? They're like, can't find a good wife. And then I got some dope ass. I'm like, and I tried to set one of these women and men up, And I ain't gonna say which one of them acted a plumb fool, but one of them was like, this other one has too many kids. And I'm like, but I was like, okay, that's what you want to do. Like, all right, like, I don't know what to do. Like, this is a good dude and you are a good woman. How come y'all two can't figure it out? Like, so both parties got to be on the same level. Dr. Sabrina, what are your final thoughts?
So there's an old saying that says you throw a rock in the crowd and the one that hollers the loudest is the one that got hit. I think we hit some people today. We got a lot of people hollering over in this chat, in the comment section. And that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. I would just say, we've questioned the statistics. We see what's happening. The reality is, what are we going to do about it as individuals? People can come on a show like this and express their comments and opinions. We're all entitled to have one. But at the end of the day, what role will you play? What role will you play? Will you be the person that just goes from, show to show, podcast to podcast, in the chat with your personal comments? Or will you level up, Black man and Black woman, and say that I am going to be the best version of myself that I can be? If I have a partner, I'm going to do what's necessary so that I can exemplify what Black love looks like, what, Black struggle is, what it is for us to be community, to build together. That's an individual thing. And I think, it's enough work out here for all of us to do, not just the 4 queens that are on this show, though every one of those that's in the comments today. I don't know that I've ever been on a show where, we had a more active comment section. It's a lot of work for all of us to do. Black man, Black woman, it's enough for all of us to do. The reality is, will we do it? Will we do it? No, there are not going to be any perfect people. I wasn't perfect when I married my husband. He was not perfect when he married me. But we have learned, and we're still learning, how to build together, how to grow together, and how to rear our Black sons. I have sons. And Shalay, to your credit, that's something that worries me. That was something that has always worried me as a mother. I wanted to put the type of sons out into the world that a woman could be proud to say, this is my husband. That's what I strive to do as an individual. My question to those in the chat that have comments, is that what you're doing? Is that what you're doing? Is that what you are doing? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much stuff we have. What are we putting out into this world? What type of human beings are we leaving behind? And with that being said, talking about leaving behind, that's what Dr. Williams does. I am Dr. Sabrina Edmond Williams, educator, author, and investor, opening minds and closing contracts. I am so noted. I'm so excited and so delighted to be a panelist here on Fly Nubian Money with these other beautiful queens. We had a lot to say today. Yes, we did. But remember, at the end of the day, you can build it, but you got to protect it and you got to pass it on properly. With that being said, if you need help learning how to do that, please follow me at I Am So Noted. That is IAMSEWNOTED across multiple platforms. Thank you, love. Back to you, Dr. Lene.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. So I'm going to leave with this. Life is funny. Black love is Black struggle. Man, I'm so sad that that's how people think. I'm really sad that that's how people, Black men and Black women, it's not a Black man thing. It's not a Black woman thing. It's not even a gender. This is a Black thing that we feel, some folks feel, that Black love is struggle. Black love is beautiful. Black love is excellent. Nobody understands the Black man like a Black woman. Nobody understands the Black woman like a Black man. Do people find love outside of each other? They do. And there's nothing wrong with that. All I'm here to say is don't discount or take away from what happens when two people of like minds, of past experiences, of struggle, of understanding get together. Something beautiful happens. Doesn't mean something beautiful can't happen somewhere else. It just means that there's nothing like when these two people connect and come together. Okay. So it's not struggle. That's the problem. We have to change that thinking. We have to change that ideology, that concept. We have to understand that whether it's black on black love or black on something else love, the end goal is family. It's community. It's teammate. It's partnership. When two people come together, we know that wealth happens. I don't care if it's black and black, black and Spanish, black, marriage, family, buying a house, investing. That's how we create wealth. And if women are childless, they don't have a partner. Now, they may have money, and they may, somebody said that's where these girl trips in Dubai is coming from. Yes, I don't care what no woman says. And you can correct me in the chat if you want to. Nobody wants to be 50 and single. I don't care what you say. It might have been cool in your 20s and 30s. I am woman. I'm independent, beating on my chest. I don't need you for nothing. 30s too. Right around 40s, you start looking at everybody with their families. Right about 50, ain't nobody going out, hanging out at the club no more. They ain't even traveling with you. They at home with their family. You sitting around, looking around like, damn, I wish I had taken the time to work on building a family. I wish that would have been important to me. If you know that, let your nieces know. Let your nephews know. Let your brothers know. Hey, get yourself together. Get yourself a family. David Banner running around here right now, 50-something years old, talking about I want a wife. Dog, you done ran through all the women. You done had all the good time. Now you're getting older, feeble, knees hurt. You want a wife? We got to start talking about having a family sooner. We got to start talking about building wealth sooner. We have to start talking about partnership sooner. It doesn't have to be this hard for Black men. It doesn't have to be this hard for Black women if we would think about partnership, teammate, having each other's back. Do you have to have it all together? Do you have to be at a certain level? I will tell the truth and shame the devil that I have had super high expectations for the majority of my life. As I have grown and become more mature, I've had to really think about, what does settling mean? What does settling look like? I have some non-negotiables, but I have some things that I can be flexible on. I used to have a rule. You got to be at least 6'4". You got to be this tall to ride this ride. I'm 5'9". I was probably tripping on that one. You know what I'm saying? I've lowered that one to 6'1". You know, some stuff was just dumb. That was stupid, right? That was a dumb thing. I was young. I didn't know any better. But as I've gotten older, I've gotten more mature in my thinking. Lene, what do you want for your life? What kind of partner do you want? Does a man that's 6'4" and a man that's 6'1", is there a difference in his character? How he's going to treat you? How he's going to show up for you? You need to grow up in your thinking. I'm not talking about anybody else. I'm telling my story. I recognize that was young thinking. That was societal norms and pressure. What I really want is a man that's going to treat me right, take care of me, talk to me nice. And if he is 6 feet or 6'1" and he can do that, that's what's important. So some of it is we got to get out of our own heads so that we can make partnerships, so that we can have relationship. Or else we're going to have not barren, but childless single women, Black women going into 2030. And there's something we can do about that by simply just having conversations. And so that's our conversation today. As we can conclude today's discussion, it's clear that the decision for women to prioritize their careers over family is one that will continue to reshape our society in profound ways. From financial independence to evolving gender roles, this shift is impacting not just relationships, but the very fabric of our social and economic systems. As women gain more access to opportunities and choose to focus on their ambitions, we are witnessing a transformation in how we define success, family, and the future. Thanks for tuning in to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. We will see you next time, being tomorrow at 1 o'clock, same time, same place. I am Dr. Lene Javette. I am a monetization coach, a brand new brilliant strategist. I help service-based Black entrepreneurs who package and sell their expertise to monetize their brilliance. You can find me at I am Dr. Lene Javette. As always, stay brilliant, stay Black, and be one. Have a great day. Bye, everyone.